Are we live? Hello, good evening and welcome. Journey through the unexplained. Don't ask me what show it is because I don't know. How are we all doing? Hope we're well. Hope we've had a good week so far. And it's been lovely and mild. Summer is coming. Or should I say, it was. Well, it sounds like it's going to be going again, so nice while it lasted. Oh, why does this thing never bloody... Full reception. Everyone looking forward to Easter? A 4-day weekend? If you ever got to work on bank holidays, that is. A couple of 4-day weeks for me. I cannot wait.
Oh, here I am.
True Saturday.
Right, let's just see if play some music just for a minute so we know that Philip is on there. I think this is Philip's main song. So,
I've lost your sound, Russ.
you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you cut right out then.
It's probably where I'm trying to. I've got the speakers up so I can hear when Philip goes off here. So, hello everybody. Who have we got in the comments? Hello there. Mr. Downs is in the chat.
How we doing, mate?
Sending all our love, Joe. Sending all our love and all our thoughts with you at the moment. So prayers, everything for you, Joe. So just for you, his dad is too well. So we're just sending our prayers and our love. Please, you hear me?
No.
How can you not hear me? Can you hear me?
It was like that.
I'm hoping that it comes back.
That's it. I can hear you now. Stop doing it now.
Yes, because I think I'm trying to play music. Right. Let's go. Let's go, shall we? Right. That's jumped out of there already. Gremlins in the machine. Oh, I bet it's picked up on the wrong. No, right one. Right, let's go. It's now time for you to sit back in your chair and relax. Let your mind wander to the deepest, darkest parts of your brain. Let Ross take you on a journey to the unexplained. Good evening, guys, and welcome to Journey Through the Unexplained, live and exclusive on Pulse Talk Radio, Facebook and YouTube. It's Thursday, the 21st of March 2024. And welcome. Just say a big thank you to the lovely Philip Solomon that has taken us through the last hour over on Pulse Talk Radio. It was a great show. I say it's a great show, and we know it's a great show. So thank you ever so much for the lovely hand over there, Philip. I hope you are doing well and feeling a lot better this week as well. And where would I be without my wonderful co-host, Mr. Paranormal Paul?
Hello, good evening. How are we doing?
I am all good in the hood. Yourself?
Happy days. Yes, not too bad, mate. Yeah, not too bad.
Good. Busy week?
Always busy. Well, that's been a bit slow today, to be fair, but other than that, busy.
As this won't make any sense to the viewers on radio or the listeners on radio, but Paul, I can see you have your lights on your Millennium Falcon. I think that's really cool. Can't help it. I'm just so glad I'm just a geek and I'm not a geek on my own.
Well, I must admit, yeah, I've spent a couple of hours messing about with that, trying to be very gentle and just drilling little holes in my Lego. I am a geek, and that's it. When I think about it, it's sad, really. But I wanted to light the back up.
But then you should go to the actual whatever it is. I don't name drop AliExpress, and they actually do a kit for it.
No way! I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do a kit for it. They've got a kit.
But this is so that's the miniature Falcon, though. It's not the big one, is it?
No, that's the same as my one. Yeah, they do a kit for it. They do a kit for that. They do a kit for the Ecto One.
That was my next project, and that was my test to see, and that was going to be my next one to light all that up.
That's it. Yeah.
Right, I'll have a look at that then.
What about the decorating for the missus?
Yeah. Don't worry, mate. I'm booked out fully for Easter weekend. Trust me.
Well, I hope everything is well. I think it looks really cool. But you pop over to that other website I'm in, Jess, and just search it, and it's amazing. I think it only costs about like 15 quid and all.
Really?
Stupid money, yeah. Stupid money.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have a look at that then.
Because I really want the Ghostbusters house, or whatever you call it, the fire station.
Yeah.
The Lego one of that, and you on that website you can buy it with or without the lights.
Oh. So
that might be my next venture if I can get my mind into it. That's where I want to go. But no, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. We haven't really got much of a plan because the show was touch and go if we'd get on or not. But I'm here. We're correct. We're present. We're ticked. But I was going to sort of take it back a little bit to what I would call our roots a little bit. Sometimes we go off on tangents, don't we? And we go on about this, that, and the other. But I thought we'd sort of kick off sort of the opening of the show today. We can sort of revisit what we spoke about last week as well with the photos, because that sort of took an unexpected twist, didn't it? We'll start off with that because that leads on. So if you didn't listen last week, we at the end of the show we spoke about the photos of the royal family that was what we think was a bit of a it's a bit of a conspiracy. Well, it come out that Kate herself photoshopped this photo, an amateur photoshop. What a load of cack! Come on, as if that is even an excuse of what has gone on. As if they're going to let that out. But they've now found more photos, haven't they? They've found even more photos that have been edited with the same issues. Someone's gone through loads of photos over time.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
I thought you were on about the video footage that came out the other day.
Well, but that, but the doctored photos where it all started for us last week, didn't it? The doctored photos. So, as we said, we didn't think, I must say, we didn't think that, anybody by themselves, within the royal family would be doing their own photos. But according to press releases and everything, that they did do their own photos, which I find very hard to believe. I find that really hard to believe. Can't help it. Like, I don't see that. I can't physically see that being an option.
No.
But there was somebody on, I don't know if it was what YouTube, I think I watched it, and someone spent their sort of whole week are going on about they went back through all photos over time and then started picking apart every single royal photo, going back to even when, you know, the late Queen Elizabeth was alive.
Right.
You know, and they found doctored evidence in that as well, which we sort of, I think we knew anyway. You know, it's not nothing new. But Joe's asking, what's the theory on it? Well, we didn't really know last week, did we? We didn't really come up with anything that. Do I think there's a theory behind it? I don't necessarily know. What crazes me is that they've caused this mass hysteria and not really shut it down. And as Paul said, Paul sent me a video of another so-called, but once again, I think that's been misconstrued in my eyes. I don't know though. I think that's been misconstrued.
It's. I mean, I see old Piers Morgan commented on it, like, you know, there you go to all the conspiracy theories. Here she is, William and Kate out and about doing their thing. You can clearly see that it's her, and then, you know, and everyone's sort of jumping on. How can you say that's her? You zoom in, it's nothing like her. And it wasn't her,
but it was so obviously not her. But I didn't ever see any caption to say that was with her.
No, again, it's probably what other people jumped on the bandwagon with.
Yeah,
I don't know where the original come from or how it got out or who posted it.
But no, that one that they said was with Harry walking with Kate. That picture, if you look at any release of it, has never stated that's Kate. Never. This is where I think we, you know, the media have run with it, and you know, they've gone, well, hang on a minute. What point did we say? You can quite clearly see that's not Kate. Anyone in their God-green mind. So to think to believe that we would think that is crazy. But I've looked at a lot of where that photo come from, and not once did it say Prince William with Kate. Not once. Right. So I think we, as a collective, the papers, have just, because obviously what they've done, we've jumped to a conclusion on that one, which quite right, I think we were quite entitled to do. Did we, Jay said, did we talk about the affair? Wills had an affair. Kate had an affair with Harry. I didn't know that Wills had an affair, but we spoke loosely on that Kate had an affair with some Duke of Duchess of whatever that strangely passed away a couple of days later, didn't he? Or on the day of something. But I think...
Did we speak about that, though? I don't remember us speaking about that on the show.
Did we? I'm sure we did.
I thought we did speak about William, because I know people were going around saying, oh, you know, like father, like son. You had, obviously, Charles and Camilla when he was with Diana, and then William with this other woman.
One of the strongest theories that I saw was, I think it's what, you know, it's only a conspiracy theory. It's like, but Kate had an affair with some bloke. I don't know his name, but on the day that William was supposed to do a press something, he pulled out with 20 minutes to go.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that, but that morning, a duchess, I don't know, it's not duchess, it's a
Duke,
or someone like that passed away suddenly. And the next footage of William, he had quite a few bruises around his eye and his neck.
Yes,
yeah?
I remember seeing that. Yes.
So that would that's, you know, you once again, you're putting 2 and 2 together make 6, you know, but we know what that could be. Wills and Kate split imminent, I reckon. See, I think it's the other way around. I don't think the people of the country would accept wills without Kate. I think this is what I think the whole predicament is about. Whatever's gone on, I think that if anything was to happen, I don't necessarily feel like the people would appreciate the without Kate, if that makes sense. She seems to be like the Diana, like the Diana of the time. The people loved Diana. I think people love Kate, and I think this is where we are. I think this is what's happening at the moment. I think they're trying to work out how, if, what, when, and how, if we do, get an advocation or, God forbid, another death within the royal family. It's one of them things. I just think they're trying to figure it all out, it seems, because it seems very, very sporadic and not
it could ruin them a bit, couldn't it? Because like you said, William and Kate, they're kind of the most loved out of the royals, I would say, aren't they? They were very looking forward to William sort of stepping up as well, or graduating to the next step, so to say, when King Charles took the throne. And like you say, with Kate, she seems very down to earth, very lovable. People do tend to like them too more than any other member of the royal family. And if something like this, if a scandal like this comes out, it could ruin that. And I don't think that they'd want that at all.
Jackie has said, why can't we just accept she's had an operation and because she took time off? Absolutely. 100%. That could be, that could exactly be the case. But I just don't, there's been not a lot of shutting down, which is very unlike the royal family. They can shut things down very quickly. They've allowed this to roll. And that's my only sort of, that makes me wonder why. But yeah, I totally agree, Jackie. I think she could have had quite a serious operation by the, what we're led to believe. Serious. It was called as quite a serious operation, wasn't it? And I think people have come out within the hospital and said she was in some form of induced coma at some points. So, she could have had a serious abdominal surgery. So yeah, I'd totally go with you there, Jackie.
But it's like what I said last week, isn't it? That this William and Kate's the royal family. They haven't got to explain themselves to no one, and it's no secret that they haven't got the best relationship with media. Over the past, with the way the media have intruded into their lives. So I don't think they owe the media anything. If the media want to publish, which I think the media need to be quite careful about as well.
I agree. I do agree. I do agree with that one, Paul, actually.
So
I think it's a waiting game. I do think it's a waiting game. I do think we will have some form of, answer to it all. I just find it very odd why they've allowed it to spiral out of control this quick. It doesn't seem very normal for this sort of situation. It's very easy to shut down, but they haven't. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't, the photoshopped photo is just the most bizarre things. So I'm pretty sure that I just don't see why Kate would do that sort of thing. I don't. I'm sure they paid millions of people for that.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all right. They're royal family, but at the end of the day, they're still people. And this day and age, everyone who goes on Instagram or whatever takes their pictures. I'm assuming most, or especially the younger generation, they'll always have a little tweak and then post it out without even thinking about it. Not expecting everyone to look in close and go, "Oh, you've doctored that." or
Yeah,
you've pulled your belly in a couple of inches or something. I don't know. I don't know if it is an innocent thing to have happened and someone's just called them out on it. But then
I really, but I can't imagine Kate sitting there on her phone saying, "Oh look, I just had a like on that photo. I just can't see it. I just can't her seeing it uploading in her front room on her mobile phone. I just can't. I just think it has to go to someone else to be. Surely they'd just be so thick in that
can
sort
this
of
be
thing.
posted? Yeah.
I think they've got about 50 of them photos. I'm thinking, what one do you want? The media have hyped this to try and force their hand to spill the beans. If it was a hysterectomy, she wouldn't want to share that. No, I do get it. I do. That seems, as the more they can force a hand, then yeah, that's a good way of putting it. To be fair, Jackie, I quite like that way of looking at it. The media can be so powerful with what they want, and it's almost like a standoff between the media and the royal family. And like you said last week, Paul, I suppose it fits in that. They ain't got to do anything if they don't want to.
No, not at all. 100%.
That fits within that sort of whatever surgery it is. I do like that sort of hypothesis. Is that a right word?
Well, I think it was said at the start that she won't be making an appearance until after Easter, I think. So
exactly. So
they could just stick to that, and then after Easter we'll find out. I suppose she might come out and go, well, we said we weren't coming out, so
I'm expecting a Willy Wonka sort of entrance, though. Do you know what I mean? Where she's walking down the red carpet with a walking stick, and then she trips over and does a flip or something like that. I'm fine expecting that sort of entrance. Yes, there was no ring on her finger, but apparently, according to the royal beings, that's nothing untoward. It's normal for no royal to wear a ring, apparently. Same as Prince Charles with his sausage fingers, but they're weird. But no. So it has sort of. There was a theory going around last week that it would all be announced on Wednesday this week, but nothing come of it. The BBC had an implemented plan of something that was going on, but it never happened. So I'm assuming, I think we just have to take it sort of a little bit. There is something not right there. But what it is, it could just be something like, she's had a major operation and then taken, maybe a turn for the worst. And with the news of King Charles, and he said Prince Charles, I shouldn't, King Charles. I suppose it all links in that it could be all a bit too much for the people to take rather than anything else. So until we, after Easter, we were said after Easter, I think we're going to see her at Easter. They normally have the family normally have a Easter church service, don't they? Like Christmas.
Yeah.
So I think if that's when we're going to see it, I think that is when the time I think we will see the real Kate. And I'm assuming they all use stunt doubles and things like that. I think it's not uncommon, if that makes sense. So if Kate is just scrolling along Facebook and sees this link somehow, if you have had a major operation, we wish you well. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I just can't see that in my head. Kate just sitting there flicking through Instagram on a. I just can't.
That being said, I hope it is kind of what I said. They haven't got to say nothing to the media. They don't owe the media nothing. So I really hope this is a sort of just sticking the middle finger up at them. We come out when we're ready, not when you tell us to.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think I like that theory, if that makes sense. I do like that theory. I really do. And I think if it's the right way, then you know what? The media have got a lot to say for something, So that's that. We just touched on that last week. We had another incident this week with another photo, but I just thought we'd clear the air with that one because, after last week's show, the press release was Kate did the own photoshopping. Take it how you will. Right. So let's move on to what we really want. Like, I really wanted to sort of touch base with, because I don't think me and Paul have ever really spoke about this. We have spoke about UFOs and things like that, but I'm not too sure if we've really got into depth about abduction.
No, I think we've covered a couple of the old classic cases, haven't we? But
yeah, but I think I'd like to dig quite deep into sort of the alien abduction or UFO abduction, and is it possible, how it may work, why, and things like that. Because for me, I'm not that sold on abduction. I've said it enough times. I'm not that sold on it. So I would just like to see your thoughts on it, and how, why, what. Because we've had team members that have so-called lost time. And who am I to sit here and decide? Not them. But this weekend just gone, when we've been up, as I say, Essex Ghost Hunters was up in Nottingham, we revisited Cannock Chase. We revisited the place where them events went on. We went in the daytime. Does the place have weird vibes? 100%. 100% there is something not right within that place, because you really have to tune in. You really have to take your mind to places that you want to hear and see. It took a hell of a long while to get a communication link with spirit. Simon was getting weird messages, but did anything go different there than the second time? No, we didn't. Nothing went different. We got in the car, everything was right. The car started, everything was normal, so to speak. The only thing that I would say, one side, we went to a different part of Cannock at first and did a little walk around, and there was an energy that was following us, but there was what I would call great signs of cryptoids, Bigfoot, massive signs of Bigfoot in this forest area. And I'm talking about probably about 6 to 9 foot high snaps of trees. So the trees snaps around about 6 foot high and above. Now, it could even be, it'd be taller, about 7 foot, far taller than what we could reach. And you think, well, how does that tree snap at that height? It's gonna snap the lowest possible because of the weight of the tree. So pushing it forward. So that was one side of it, and it was like, you know what? There's definitely, from all the accounts that I have watched and video footage that I've watched, that's a clear sign of Bigfoot territory. And we sort of just did a walk and went around, and sort of went over to the other side where things happened last time for us, and it just changed. The energy changed completely to what was on one side of the sort of what you'd call the forest. It's a big old place. Cannock Chase is a big old place. And we got to this set of crossroads with a long line of trees. And it just took me back to Rendlesham. It's just that same sort of straight lines, tall trees in straight lines. And we got to this crossroads, and it was the most bizarre feeling we'd ever had in my life. And I didn't want to cross into the tree line. There was a crossroads. I didn't want to go any further. It felt like I was being led to my death. For some strange reason, that's what I felt. That's how my stomach felt. But I thought, oh, come on, Russell, man up a bit. You know, be brave here. Good evening, Heidi. Welcome. Heidi's just joined us in the chat. And I thought, you know what? Get across and feel it. And I walked across, and it all just changed. Everything that looked just, didn't look right. Jay come across, Kim come across. Sandra and Maz didn't, but Simon went a different direction. He turned to the right and went up the right pathway. And he's all he kept saying was, "This is where all realms meet. All realms meet, or all dimensions meet," or something along them lines. So I carried on walking a little bit, and the weirdest thing is that we got there, and just swarms of people started to emerge. Dog walkers, disc walkers, and it was like bike riders. And I'm thinking, and Kim said it. It almost feels like that they stopped us from concentrating there. And we start to walk away from it. Everyone's disappearing. But
bizarre.
Is how I felt was a bit of detachment from the area. And I put my hands on the tree. And all I could see was, or all I could hear in my head was, Jefferson was here. Jefferson was here. Jefferson was here. And is all I could say it was the president of America. What it felt like to me, President, is it Thomas Jefferson? I think it was Thomas Jefferson. Felt that's what was being told to me. Thomas Jefferson met here. Thomas Jefferson met here. And I said, well, what did he meet? Now, I didn't say too much with the guys there and then, because it felt absolutely crazy what I was thinking. And it goes against everything I tell people. It's like, when you say it, when you sense it, say it. But it made me feel so. It made me feel so stupid that what I was getting told was Thomas Jefferson was brought here and he visited the UK to meet extraterrestrials. That is what that tree told me.
Well, God, I'm sweating. Sorry, I just realised they put the heating on. What can you remember? What year Jefferson? So was he president when this happened? Do you think?
Yes. Philip has put, "Hi, Philip. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Love the show earlier on, Philip. You have the right spot on the chase. We filmed a huge ape-like creature there. We was near the. Don't quite know, but we was sort of.
That's interesting.
Center, but not. If that makes sense. That's all I can say. I'm saying I'm not from that area, so we just parked up and we couldn't get in the visitor centre, but we went around the corner. But that's all that went through my mind, and I didn't say anything. I kept it in my head because it just sounded crazy. It sounded crazy to the point that my brain and my mouth wouldn't let go. It just wouldn't come out. But it's very interesting that Philip's caught an ape-like feat. It makes me feel a lot better that what my brain was going to was right. Yes. I'm quite happy there. I was really happy.
That's bizarre. I mean, you couldn't have timed that any better. To be fair, Philip.
Right. Because it just settled that side of the road. I felt more comfortable in because I thought I knew, but I knew what more I was dealing with rather than the other side of the road. And when this image come into my head, and I could see, I could see the motorcade, and I can visualize. It's like an imprint in my head of the motorcade pulled up with Thomas Jefferson in it, and he put Wellington boots on, but it was around about 8:30 at night. I remember the motorcade. I can see it, like when I put my hands on them, my mind drifted, and this motorcade pulled into this funny shaped car park. He walked up the same road that we walked to, and he didn't walk past the crossroads. He didn't walk past the crossroads. They all stood at the crossroads. They all stood at the crossroads. But I couldn't tell you what Thomas Jefferson looked like. I just got told the name by spirit. Was our Prime Minister there? I don't know. I don't know who would have our Prime Minister would have been alongside Thomas Jefferson. Wasn't he quite Thomas, let's get some dates. Thomas Jefferson. It was quite old, wasn't it? 1826. So that was when that was there. Yeah, but when I say motorcade, I don't know, Joe. I don't know what I was saying. I just saw him put welly boots on. That's all I can, that's all I can visualize. It was definitely a motorcade of something pulling up. It had wheels. It had, something. I couldn't tell you. It was just such a really deep. And it was only about 30 seconds I was held in that tree. But that's what I'm saying. Nothing really in my head. I couldn't put anything necessarily together at that moment to be able to spit it out and not confident, go against everything what I was feeling. And I didn't want to go across there. And I felt like Jefferson never wanted to cross there. But I don't quite, it was very odd. It was just a very, very odd feeling and bizarre feeling. And that's what got me sort of thinking, I think I need to sort of get it off my chest. So tonight I'm getting it off my chest because it's not played on my mind because I can't change anything. That's just the vision I got. But if something didn't tell me the name of who it was, I would have never guessed it. I would have never known who that person was in my vision. And I didn't, I literally put the Jay saw a tree and went to it. And then I went to a tree and went to it. And I just placed my hand on it. And it just went, it just zoned completely out. But I could hear everybody and see everybody. I knew where I was. But I didn't know quite what was going on because the visions in my head that I kept seeing was like, why am I seeing this? And then Simon come back and he stood at the top of the mountain and he said, this is where all realms meet or something along them lines. I don't know if he's in the chat. But that's what he was saying. So after I saw it, he said it as if it was like a meeting point for what? All realms? All realms? I really don't know.
I mean, that's quite a big collection of, if all realms. I mean, that could mean anything, couldn't it?
It could, I do think that is a massive scope, but say if it lays on some form of, potentially a ley line, maybe it is a meeting point. Maybe it is, I do think Cannock Chase itself is got a bit of everything now. Witchcraft, I think, occult stuff like that. I think, obviously Philip has, sort of backed up the evidence of cryptoids there, Bigfoot and ape-like creatures there. I think the previous time we've gone there, we have had, extraterrestrial and UFO stuff. It's just very, very bizarre. But I just didn't like the way that, not to say I was disconnected, because that's not what I felt. I didn't like the way it made me question myself.
Mm.
I'm not a person that would normally not say anything. Sorry, I've got some motorcade. Yeah. Evening, Steve. Welcome to the show. Peace and love. Courage, perhaps. Joe. What is Cannock Chase known for? Cannock Chase is known for the black-eyed children. That is the biggest story that comes that I know. When people mention Cannock Chase, it's named for the black-eyed children, which in itself, I think, is a double entendre. Is that the word? Look at me. I think it's a double-edged sword, because I do believe when we first went to Cannock Chase, before lockdown, was it before? It must have been before lockdown, mustn't it? We went up to Warwick Castle.
Yes.
Must have been before then. That's when we first visited Cannock Chase, the second night there. And that's why we went, the black-eyed children. That was one of the reasons why I went. But I think we can talk about the black-eyed children in an extraterrestrial sense.
Mm.
Because if you look at our logo, that is quite clearly visible in the top. I don't know what side it's going to be. Left-hand side, right-hand side. It's above your head, Paul, on my screen.
Right-hand side.
It's above there. No, it ain't. It's above there. I'm lost. But that's, that's it. Where Paul's pointing. Now, we know there's tall greys and we know there's small greys. So these black-eyed children that people have seen could potentially be small greys.
Mm.
Yeah, it's behind me. Yeah, something along them sort of lines, but more the ones above Paul's head. So that that was quite evident, like in the last time we went there, because obviously the extraterrestrial side of stuff, I've still got the footage, the recordings that we did up there, voice record. We did there's a whole recording somewhere on my computer, and halfway through it, when Sandra began to become very affected by extraterrestrials visiting, it broke the recording. Right. It just stopped the recording out of nowhere and started again as and when we was leaving. So that in itself is quite freaky and spooky.
Yeah.
The same, the incident that happened with Simon at Rendlesham happened to Sandra at Cannock. This total overlay of energy over a person, and to disorientate them for days. I know, Simon, it took days and to sort of recover from Rendlesham. I think it really unnerved Sandra, and it took us a long time. But so there we go. So it's going to take up half our screen. Cannock Chase is a beautiful and scenic location in Staffordshire, England. It is known for its picturesque landscape, rich history, diverse. However, the tranquil place has also gained a notorious mysterious and unexplained phenomena that has occurred over the years. The most famous of these legends of the black-eyed children, sightings of UFOs in the air. The legend of the black-eyed children, also known as black-eyed kids, is a modern urban legend. So that, to me, that is Cannock Chase sort of in a little mini nutshell, to be fair. But you to sit here and try and describe it, it is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's just beautiful. It is lovely. But it has some really, really odd feeling, and what it can do to you. Philip has put, we also had a craft reported to have landed on Cosford RA Bess. I talked to one of the airmen on guard that night who saw things come out of the craft. So saw things.
And is that in the same sort of area, is it?
I'm not too sure where Cosford is, but I'm assuming potentially yes.
Yeah.
Well, that would be very weird. Not weird, as I say that in strange, but this story here saw things coming out of the craft. That could be quite easy, not easily, but linked to Rendlesham, because the same things, apparently there was sightings of things shooting from the craft at Rendlesham as well. So that's quite interesting. 2 links there. Thank you ever so much for sending in, and Carl, thank you ever so much for sending in the Cannock Chase thing. But for me, I'm not sitting here to say I was abducted that night. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't lose time. I didn't lose consciousness. I didn't lose anything. Simon, Tina, Henry, and Lauren, when we went to Cannock Chase last time, potentially 3 to 5 minutes of lost time. But bizarrely is how they lost time and how it works. That's the strangest and bizarre thing, because when they lost time, we parked in this little alcovey bit, okay, like a little, not a car park, but like a little lay-by that pulls in by a gate.
Yeah.
Tina pulled in first. I jokingly said to Sandra, Jay, and Maz in my car, I'm going to reverse in because I've seen the horror films, and if I need to make a quick escape, I'm facing the right way. Tina didn't. Now, after everything went on, it was quite harsh. Sandra still wasn't Sandra, but we got everything back. I pulled out onto the road, and I saw Tina's lights go on, and I knew it was Tina because Tina followed me there. Tina had one sort of brighter light than the other, so one was dipped, and one was full beam. So that's how it was quite handy when she was following me, because I could always keep her in my in the tower. I knew it, so I pulled off and pulled down the road a little bit and just braked while she turned around and pulled out. I saw her pull out. Her lights were in my rear. I saw her lights in her rear mirror, and even Maz saw her lights in the rear. And I just pulled off to go, and it went down the hill, turned right, then swung left to a set of traffic lights. Quite a way down the traffic lights, but no Tina was behind me. No Tina was behind me at this point. And I waited at the traffic lights. No Tina. Waited at the traffic lights. No Tina. 2 lots of traffic lights I think I waited for. Maybe one. And I moved off and said, oh, they've got sat nav. They'll catch up with us. Well, we met a roundabout. How we met, I come one way, Tina come the other way. How we even got to the same roundabout at that same point was even bizarrely, but we didn't know until we got back to the house that they said they'd lost time in the turning circle. Well, me, Maz, and Jay said that's impossible because we saw you pull out. No, we've lost time. We lost time. It was weird. All the engines stopped, or the sat nav went funny.
I was going to say, didn't they say that they saw you drive off and they lost sight of you? Whereas from your end, they were right up behind you.
I really don't know quite at what point. See, I'm assuming in my brain how that worked was they lost their time. No, Tina said they hadn't even turned around yet and they lost time. But I saw them pull out and come behind me. So I don't quite know. And this is why I wanted to go into that sort of abduction side of things and how we think it works. Because I put my hands on my heart and say, I saw them pull out. And they'll say they put their hands on their heart and say, we didn't. We lost 5 minutes before we pulled out. Now, the timing of we lost each other fits, but how and when they got abducted or lost time doesn't. And I'm not sitting here and saying they never got abducted. That's not what I'm saying. It's the how in my brain, or with the help of the listeners and viewers, of how this abduction side works. You know, do they get abducted but life carries on? It's odd.
Yeah, that's
Very odd.
See, I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't know if I would put that down. Just because time's been lost doesn't necessarily mean it's, you know, an abduction type scenario. I think. I mean, it happened to Sandra in the bunker as well, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Last time we went there.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if it was time loss, but
she couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, everyone disappeared. So like she'd crossed into like a parallel universe, you know, a different dimension, that sort of thing. So she's in the same building, doing the same thing, but the people weren't with her. So somehow she slipped into like maybe
an alternative reality.
Yeah, you know, like a wormhole, or you know, the frequency energies. You know, like you say, you can feel something when something ain't right. When you went to the Mechanic Chase, just didn't feel right. What if it's certain frequencies and energies that are flowing through there that can cause that kind of thing? But you know, I personally, I'm like yourself, Russ. I'm not really 100% sold on the abduction side of things. I'm not poo-pooing all of it. I think some of it seems quite credible, but I can't put everything into that sort of scenario. You know, like with what you're saying, I think abduction would be my last way of thinking. I would be looking more at a parallel universe type, wormhole type scenario.
That sort of situation at Cannock Chase with Tina and Simon would make a little bit more sense to me. That fits with, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say they're not was abducted. You know, even though I don't necessarily believe in it myself, I have to take faith in, you know, my friends and my close friends that that's what they feel happened. Who am I to say? It's no different with, like, you know, you and me with East Drive. Do you know what I'm saying? I put my not faith in you, but I trust you enough to tell me that there's something there. I'm going to sort of try and take that on. So that's how this feels. But I do remember when they got in the car or something went on, they saw loads of red around them.
All right.
So for me, this alternate reality type feel, where that would maybe be a far better, for me looking at it, because of I saw them pull out. So what's to say that that road in alternative reality wouldn't have? It doesn't. It has to be there, maybe. So they would have took their journey. I would have seen them pull out.
Yeah.
Then I lost them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That would have fitted. If I'm seeing them, am I seeing, obviously, them dipping between the alternative reality, the wormhole or whatever it is, but at then that moment they've gone, and that's
it's that theory, isn't it? When, you know, the universe is that big that if somewhere along the line in alternative realities and this and that parallel universes, we have done every single scenario to what you could possibly think in that situation. I'm not saying that that's what's happened, but that's the theory, isn't it? There's so many of us all over the universe is that we have done everything. Right now I'm talking to you. I'm moving that end, and another one I could be moving that end, and we've done every single possible thing. So if they have slipped somehow, opened up that wormhole or that gate, or then you're seeing that one part of it that they would have just followed you out anyway, but they were sort of subconsciously living in the other part of it. That sort of. That's the way I would go with that. Would that be classed as an abduction?
Well, we all
maybe an abduction of your reality.
Within the field of abduction and ufology, there's obviously a strong link between losing time, abduction, UFO sightings potentially. So it fits quite well, and all four of them witnessed it and experienced it and felt it. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of characteristics. One person, you think, yeah, okay, fine. You could have done anything. Two people, you're paying attention. Three people, you're well on board of what's gone on. Four people, all witnessing it, all experiencing it at the same time, I think is quite a credible account of something went on. But
100%.
What went on, are we calling a 5-minute loss of time an abduction? They just lost time. They can't remember anything. They just lost time. So what went on is, in that moment, it's weird. It was very weird. And that's Cannock Chase all over. Rendlesham, I know Joe spends a lot of time in Rendlesham. He's been out there on his own in Rendlesham, which I think is rather brave and stupid, Joe, but brave. Philip has just commented. Sorry, he says it's 7 miles apart from Corsford RAF to Cannock Chase. So look,
which is a stone's throw, really, and it's not.
Yeah, for an aircraft or a craft of something, yes.
Yeah.
But that story there, that it does have very good ties with things that have gone on over in Rendlesham as well, with things potentially coming out of the craft. So, but get back onto subject. Sorry, I didn't see the post first and foremost. So the whole, and to be fair, I know he's not on there, but Henry, he feared. He was frightened. He was petrified. He went, even after we got back, even though we took the pee out of him, even to this day, he said he was absolutely frightened. Then he was witnessing things in the sky.
That says a lot as well, doesn't it? About something definitely. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him frightened. So to react like that over something like that, like you say, he knows something definitely happened. Otherwise, why would he have been shaken up so much? And I think it might be more a case of not being able to get your head around it.
I think that's the case,
Because if it was something spiritual, like, if you want to go something sort of that you can sort of go, oh, right, I kind of know why that happened like that, whether it was scary or not. So you can kind of make sense of it.
Yeah.
But if you can't make sense of it and it spooked you, that's even worse, isn't it?
And that is the issue. That is what scares the people, that knowing that something's different is scary. And not to say I was scared, because that's not what happened in Cannock Chase. I was just more, why am I being told this? This is stupid. What I'm seeing, what I'm getting told, doesn't fit what the process is.
Yeah.
And I know there's been certain presidents, that they've signed treaties according to, history, that are potentially conspiracy theories, have signed treaties with extraterrestrials. I know all that, and I get all that, and I feel all that. But I can't. This one proper threw me. It was like, this doesn't make sense, and I shouldn't have to make sense of it. But I didn't want to give it. I didn't give it, and that's my fault, because I could have probably got help if I spoke to Simon or Jay, or what was this about? How does this work? So, but it threw us. But then walking back from the tree line back to the car, everything for me come back. Everything spiritually in my head was there. I got to this bench or this tree, and there was this lady in spirit, and it's all she kept singing. I couldn't quite. She was singing to me, and it's all I could remember her singing is the whitling tree, I'm going to go to the whitling tree in the bog, and the tree in the whitling tree in the whitling bog. And I'm going to, does anyone know this tree? Anyone know about this whitling tree? What's a whitling tree? And I said, look, just sing the song to me. And Kim found the song. Unbelievable, found the song. And that I felt more comfortable, because then my senses were back. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Lady was singing to me. She said there was about 5 or 6 of these ladies singing whatever they were doing with campfire wood, and it was sang about a whitling tree and the hole in the bog, and the bog with the hole, and the hole in the bog, and the whitling tree and the whitling tree, the hole in the bog, and it was like it was an Irish folklore song,
right?
And it was St. Paddy's Day, St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, right.
So I knew it was right. It just calmed me down. So I'm assuming it was my guides putting it through and saying, look, you're there, don't panic, stop panicking. And I was fine. After that, as soon as Kim clarified the song, I was like, God, I feel normal. I feel normal. Right, let's go to Philip. Philip has sent in a question. My wife and I had experience of losing time. I think, like Paul's explanation of a time slip, then an abduction. I have worked with some of the top mediums in the world. It happens all the time to us, and have this experience at regular times. I meant 17 miles away. Sorry. It's within. It's not that far. If it's going to hide something, it's going to be, if there is, hidden ufology stuff in there. I think that's quite, I think it's no different to sort of around Rendlesham. There's certain, the lighthouse was quite a way away as well from certain things. So yeah,
I found that's interesting what you said there. Most mediums or top mediums in the world, it's happened all the time to us. It's experienced regular times. I mean, when you think about our group, I mean, personally, it's not happened to me, to my knowledge, I don't think. But within the group, it's happened more than once.
But
you're all pretty much spiritually in tune as well. So maybe you're more open to.
But I do think you've experienced it. I do think you've experienced this time slip / whatever it is. When we was in the bunker that night, we go back to that bunker when that telephone rang. There was no physical way that telephone could ring.
Yes.
But that telephone's always been in that location.
Right, but did we lose time though? Because none of us were paying attention to the time then, was we? So we wouldn't have known if.
We would not have known of any time slip.
We were so fixated on how the hell did that happen that.
Yeah. But we knew something was on. I'm pretty sure that people were seeing people walking before the phone rang. You think my phone was physically talking to me as if someone was using Siri.
It was a very active night, wasn't it? That one night. Yeah.
So, yeah, we could shoehorn it in. I know that, but I feel that something went on in that bunker that night. That I will put my hand on my heart and say to you that was never what went on in that middle section after there was definitely not spiritual activity. That was definitely some form of extraterrestrial / UFO / being of a different kind. And I'm not talking about sort of like the demonic side of things. This was a total different experience. Was it a time slip? was it a walkout of? Was it a different? Was we in a different dimension?
We had more trouble with electrics that night than ever before and ever since. I think, didn't we?
Yeah.
Everything electrical was just playing
Your
up.
camera went because you wasn't filming. You know, you were sitting with us, wasn't you?
Yeah.
So you would have had a camera on if it was fully charged, even if you just left it on the side.
Yeah, I caught bits of that evening, but not that part when that happened.
So so I do feel that there is a potential there. We're not saying 100%. That's not what we're saying, but we are saying loosely that something went on there. And you're right, Paul. None of us checked that time.
Nah.
None of us, because we was all there. No one was anywhere different. Because I don't think we was necessarily in our group, was we? Didn't we have?
I think it was after a lot of people left, didn't they?
Yes.
I think it was after the actual event, and we stayed behind to do a bit more, if I remember rightly. But yeah, the telly. So at the time, we just put it down to spirit energy. We were asking spirit to do something, and the phones rang. But like you say, what if it did? What if there was a slight sort of time slip, and that was ringing as if it was ringing when it was operational?
Exactly.
Mm.
Really, just really odd. Just really odd experience, And yeah, I'm not saying it's an abduction. I don't think, I don't think I would be near an abduction. I don't think I can ever say I've spoken to people. Let's have a look. Joe said, are there any records to say that Jefferson visited the UK and any at Canny Chase? Yes, there is records that he visited. He visited the UK 4 times, various parts. There is a recorded document to say he visited Warwickshire, which obviously was the first time we went to Cannock when we was at Warwickshire. So nothing that we couldn't find anything to say that Jefferson visited Cannock Chase, but he has visited the surrounding areas. I think there was Nottingham he visited, which was the second time, and then was at Warwickshire for the first time. So he has been in the areas of where we have and visited Cannock Chase. Kim did find that. So that was sort of a like a nice little interesting link into it, to be fair. But yeah, very, very odd experiences. And and when I say to people that I don't believe in abduction, it's not, I don't necessarily feel that I don't disbelieve them. I just think that they feel they're being abducted when they're maybe not. I spoke with me and Joe spoke to a gentleman called Philip Kinsella, or was it Ronnie Kinsella? I think it's Phil Kinsella. In the old days, and he had been abducted, and he described it quite clearly of what went on, where he felt like the beam of light, and he felt himself being dragged away and things like that. But if you talk to Philip Kinsella, he's a very good medium as well. He does spiritually connect. So in my eyes, are we actually being physically abducted? Are we absolutely, our bodies, our glasses, our everything are being abducted? And I have a theory that no, I don't think we are. I think our spirit, our soul, our something within us, our essence is being abducted. And that's why we see it and sense it, and we have a recollection of it, and we come back to it. So when people say that they have that out of body experience,
like an astro travel type thing.
Yeah, I think that, to me, that's how that abduction works. I don't know if Heidi is still in the chat, and I know Heidi has witnessed UFOs that go across her. She was with friends, I think, walking through a park, and she physically saw the craft above her, and she could physically see in the windows. And I do believe, if I, I hope she's still listening. If I get it wrong, she'll correct me. I'm hoping that that she witnessed extraterrestrials and humans working together. I do believe it's in one of her books as well, but I do witness, I think there's a red light and things like that. So,
but that's interesting as well, though, isn't it? Because they reckon that we have got extraterrestrials living among us, and it's not that they're shapeshifters and they're wearing suits and this and that. It's that the way they vibrate, the frequency they resonate on, distorts our perception of them. So we're seeing them as me or you or other humans, whereas they're not like that at all. Whereas if you're yourself, as Heidi is as well, a medium, if you're tuning into that certain frequency that they're resonating on, maybe you're seeing them for what they really are and not what everyone else is seeing them as. Does that make sense?
Yes. Sorry, I was just trying to get that. I had to post that. I think they say they walk amongst us, but it's no, I get it. I get that. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Heidi's still watching I say that's two large UFOs. Sorry, Ron Kinsella. Saw humanoids, and a large tall grey and small greys all working together in the craft. So that craft was pretty low. I'm assuming, Heidi, for you to see in through the windows. And once again, this was witnessed by 2 or 3 people.
Was it in the craft?
Sorry,
because like you say, if you're seeing them together, then together in the craft. Oh right, yeah.
Joe is sorry. I'm gonna. It was lifted in the air. I was lifted in the air. So, lifted in. So Heidi was lifted in the air. Joe said this is Ronald Casilla, and he said that he went through his roof despite being
solid, yeah.
Solid, and that's what I'm saying. It feels like that.
It's weird.
It feels like that everything in you is being dragged out, rather than your physical being. Why can't if we can astral project, we can have out of body experiences. That out of body experiences, you're looking at your body. So maybe they can extract that same thing that you have an out of body. You can extract that.
Yeah.
I think it was in front of many people, Heidi. We were somehow lifted up and was able to look into the craft. So how high was you lifted? Heidi, how high was you lifted? It may have been his astral, yes, and that's what. That's how I think it. I think that's how I believe it works. Some young boys were cycling straight through us while we saw this all. And that's even weirder.
Straight through you or underneath you?
It was weird.
If you were lifted up, that's crazy, isn't it?
We were lifted Heidi high. We were just above the tree line.
Blimey.
Through us. So that you're talking probably 20 foot in the air, 25 foot, roughly an average tree, unless you're sort of looking at the conifers or the oaks. What'd you say? 20 foot, roughly. Have I lost Paul?
No.
Have I lost you, Paul?
No, I'm here.
No, you're there. That was weird. I was talking to you and you wasn't answering.
Oh no, you froze. Well, I couldn't hear you either.
That was weird. One of us has just lost time somewhere along the line. Anybody on the chat there? Anybody on the chat? Who froze? Just out of anything? Yeah, approximately 20. I was saying roughly about 25 feet to 20 feet.
What's that? What? How high she was?
Yeah, roughly. I was explaining the trees to you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the tree line. Yeah.
So none froze. Joe said none of us froze. I think it was Paul that froze. Thank God for that. Not me. I remember all of Heidi's interesting accounts, loads. I've got all her books. So make sure, guys, if you are listening, go out and buy her books. I'll give you a quick show of the third installment. Okay. Life of Supernatural Events, free. You can go and buy it from all of different places. I get this bit wrong every day. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to www.god-inspire.one. So you can get all the books from there. So go over and get them. Lots of wisdom. No one froze. Look, none froze. I think it was Paul. Joe, the other experience was 150 people was the kind of Star Wars like war going on over in Corsair.
I remember that story. Yep. That still fascinates me, that one.
Yeah, so that's really good.
And it was in the papers, wasn't it, if I remember right? The local papers.
So that says to me that one was you thought it was hitting the right vibration for your eyes to see. For everybody to see it, it wasn't trying to be shielded or hidden. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm sure you said there were many witnesses to the incident in the town where the cyclist was. I don't know about that one, Joe. I'll wait for Heidi to come back to you on that one. But this is what I'm trying to get to, is like, I can't say no one's been abducted. I can't. No. But we have members that have lost time. We have members that have witnessed things and maybe time slips and things like that. Sandra is in the chat. So we know Sandra when we talk about Cannock Chase. And Sandra's disconnect from everybody on that night of the first Cannock Chase was weird. Weird beyond weird. It was a total disconnect. As if she was not, she didn't even know us at points. But I don't quite know what caused that. A trance-like state could do that. An astral projection, maybe not coming back fully at the right time. I don't know. But then I did the astral projection up in Wales when I walked to the UFOs and when I met them up the top of in the mountains. Now, that was me actually and me leaving my body to get there. Sorry, there was just to answer your question, Joe. No, there were two others seeing the large UFOs at the school that was close to the Green Park. But where was I? Sandra, disconnect. It could be the astral projectile coming back. And yes, Joe, I did. Yeah, I did. I did it at in Wales. Yeah, when we went up to we was in place just outside Langadog, I think it's called. And yeah, me, Jay, and Sandra was put through an astral projection. Tina put us on the journey. Jay went somewhere different to where I was, and Mrs. A just stood at the gate waiting for me and Jay to come back and keeping an eye on us. I went up through the rest of the pathway that we didn't want to go up and met 3 extraterrestrial beings, like the colour under, if you're looking at the screen, if you look under the D on the unexplained, under Paul, that colour, that whitey, purpley, translucent colour, that's what they were. They had no language, but I knew what they were saying. They were just like, you know, The Abyss, the film The Abyss?
Yeah.
You know, where it comes out of the water, but they had a shape. They sat there, and is all they, you know, I said, will I see you again? No. You know, and it's all they said is, you know, it was, Heidi said telepathy. I said, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, but I didn't know what to say because of I didn't think they understood me. But when I asked a question, I knew the answer, and we knew they looked at me. Did they have eyes and mouth? And no, but you could sort of see the shape and the arms and the thing. And it's all I said, look, they were so loving, so caring, and so different. They had a bond of, you know, it did feel like, you know, like a family. It felt like a mum, a dad, and a child. And I said to him, "What are you here for? You know, you're going to hurt me?" And I just said, "No, you heard it. You heard no, but I don't know how they said no." I said, "I've just come to see what you are," and it's all they said to me is, "We've come for your water." That's it. They're not coming for anything else apart from our water. And I know it sounds very stereotypical, but where else in this country of the United Kingdom is the wettest? It's either Manchester or Wales. And they just sat in the trees or on sort of a rock in the trees, and it was peeing down the rain that night, and they were just taking in the water. And I said, "Will I ever meet you again?" They said no, and it was really hard to take.
Yeah.
Looking back, it was so hard to take because of just what they were. What they were. You know, they were quite tall. They was, you know, what's the sort of size of around about 10 foot to 12 foot high. But I think me and Jay saw them walking in the tree line because we saw things and it was blurred. You know, if you sort of something walked across you,
Right.
You could see through it, but it was blurred.
Like the Predator type thing.
Yes, exactly that. It was exactly that, but it was the colour. When I did, you didn't see the colour when you were seeing them with your eyes, but when I did the astral projection with Jay and Sandra, my God, the colours were so vibrant. It was literally all that colour around the D and the E. If you're watching on Facebook and things like that, you'll see it around the D and the E and the unexplained under Paul. That was the colour. That was the colour. And it was totally different to the feeling I got when we was in Rendlesham. I felt intimidated in Rendlesham. I felt fearful in Rendlesham. And what they did to Simon, I didn't find that great. And how threatening they may have become. You know, we didn't do anything. They did and then threatened. That's what freaked me out.
Yeah.
In Rendlesham, they give Jay the child to look after without asking or anything like that. Then they said, Simon said, he turned to us and said, if you hurt the child, we'll help you. Well, hang on a minute. If you don't trust us, don't give us your child. No. Don't make threats. I can be brash. Joe, Joe listens and he's there and he knows that I can be brash and I can be, I could be intimidating to them. I get that. But only be intimidated if I take your child and then I offer my service. Don't give me. If you don't trust me, don't give me.
Mm.
But they must have trusted us, but they were brash and they made me jump. And I felt quite intimidated at certain points. Didn't like how they treated Simon, and I didn't like how they treated Sandra. I didn't have that experience. I had a calming experience. I had, an LSD sort of experience with the psychedelic colours and things like that. But I wasn't. I was in a cottage in Wales, and it was lovely. It was an experience that I'll treasure forever. Will definitely treasure forever. But I was never abducted. I did it myself, and that's how I think this abduction thing works. Because you would lose time, wouldn't you? If you go asleep or you abducted, you're going to just sit there, aren't you?
Well, time's different, moves different then. And even when you're dreaming, how many times have you fallen asleep and had what feels like a long dream, and you wake up and it's like, it's only been 2 minutes since I lied down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that it fits to me quite nicely. That works. Yes, you are abducted, but what is abducted?
Mm.
Yes, you lose time. Yes, you lose something. But what is it that you actually hand over for a period of time? I say this a bit tongue in cheek, but I mean it how it is. We have always laughed about anal probing within the with the thing, but maybe they abduct you and take your spirit and soul away while they insert the probe so it don't bloody hurt you. In fact, they are being kind. You know what I mean, and not doing it while you're awake or with them. But yeah, it was a really amazing experience. Something I'll treasure for the rest of my life. But something sad as well is that I won't see them. They said no, and I genuinely believe that.
Mm.
And I did try to book the same cottage in Wales again, but it's gone up for sale.
That's right. I remember you saying, yeah.
I'm gutted. I'm gutted because everyone would have loved to experience that, and everyone should experience that, the feeling, because it had everything.
There's no guarantee that if anyone, like you say, you was the only one that experienced that. If anyone else did go with you, there's nothing to guarantee. Even if you put your intentions out there to experience what you experienced, what's the chances of them actually getting that result?
No, true.
I think that was meant purely for you.
Yeah. And Jay got what he needed from it. He went. There was a gentleman by the gate. He spent a lot of time speaking to the gentleman by the gate, and it was spiritual. So, yeah, it was an experience, and just Sandra was there just to make sure that we come back, and we had a footstep to come back. And the only thing that I would say is that the extraterrestrials that visited Simon and Sandra were also present at Wales, but I didn't have any dealings with them. So I may have upset them. I don't know. But maybe they're not my wavelength. I really know what to say, if that's the word. Heidi said she's never been abductive, but has lost time.
Yeah.
So how we see it, I don't really know. But I think it is something that we can dig deep into. But I do think there is probably a better explanation for it, or a not scientific explanation, but I do think there is a link between spiritualism and UFOs and all these things. I think you have to be able to change that mindset, be able to change that frequency, be able to change that, as you say, that vibration in your eyes. And then once that is there, it works.
Mm.
Because we know how many times we've been on events, Paul, and different things that we pick up at different times, don't we? You know, I do generally feel there is a link somewhere between it.
What, the way we resonate to
Yes.
what we see?
Yes.
Because like you're saying there, like sometimes you'll see the same things on an investigation, or you'll feel the same things on an investigation, but other times it's almost like you're battling amongst yourselves. Because just for instance, argument's sake, say you and Simon are picking up on energies. Yours is completely different to Simon, but you're both talking to him at the same time. Yeah. And it's like you're then battling at each other. Well, no, it's not coming across like that. And he's saying, well, yes, I'm getting it coming across like maybe it's just the way it's resonating or the way you're picking up. It could be the same energy. It's just the way you're interpreting it.
No, yes, totally agreed. Totally agreed. Because oddly, this, you know, the ghost hunt this weekend that we've just come back from, there was a total change of of sense. Simon was in my shoes and I was in Simon's shoes for the weekend. Simon had things happen to him that normally would happen to me. Simon was picking up on things that I'm trained to pick up on. It was just odd. It was so odd. You know, I'd never seen, obviously, you know, we will get around to talking about it. But there was 2 cases this weekend where Simon was scared. Simon was scared. So we will be talking about that. But as I said, guys, we have come to the end of the show tonight. It is 9:30. We have got to shoot tonight. But we want to say thank you for everyone that has joined us tonight. It has been a really good show tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think we've had any rants. I don't think we've had any.
Makes a nice change, doesn't it?
You know, I might be able to sleep tonight without being frustrated. You know, every time I go to sleep, I think, why did I say that? That's got me, give me the ump now, so I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. But no, it's been a really good show. It's been a nice talk, and we've touched a few things. We concluded from last week. So yeah, thank you for everybody that has joined us tonight. We really do appreciate it. We will be back next week. I think we're back next week. But I will let you know. I think, yeah. You know what I need? Like, do you remember the Running Man, the new Running Man with what's the Irish guy? Colin Farrell, is it? Colin Farrell. He's got his phone in his hand. And he's got his calendar in his hand, and it's all he does is he puts it on the car screen, any glass screen, then he can just touch it like a computer. I need one of them. Because I just need to sort of look at my phone and say, what am I doing next week? Time flies so fast. Really good show, guys. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for everybody that has watched us. I really do appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everyone that has joined us tonight over on Facebook and YouTube. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for Joe. Thank you for Heidi. Thank you for Sandra. Thank you for Philip.
And Philip. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Carl has been there. Jackie's been tuned in as well. So really do appreciate it. All your questions and everything like that. Really do appreciate it, guys. So take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. You've had a time slip. It's only 9:30, Joe said. Joe, we're finishing tonight at 9:30. 9:30 tonight. Things to do in the morning. So we've got to be up and early in the morning. So yeah, 9:30 tonight. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.